Hi everybody, this is Kim with Kim's Vinyl Expressions. Today we're going to stitch out an In the Hoop large composition notebook cover by Designs by Juju. It comes in two hoop sizes, a 6x10 and a 7x12. But for this video, I'll be doing the 6x10 size. There are two spine options, a horizontal and a vertical quilting. For the 6x10, the spine is a little wider than the 7x12 version. It's this way so the whole front cover of the notebook would fit into the cover. So what you're going to need, and I pre-cut everything here, and these two, this is a 14-inch ribbon, which is optional. You know how some book covers or it works like a bookmark. It'll have a it's like a bookmark, it'll be attached. So this is optional. And also optional is a 12-inch piece of fold over elastic. And this is my finished one that I did. The elastic is to fold over to keep the book closed. And you could just fold it to the back. And then as you can see, this is the one flap, and then this is the other. And then you also have a the ribbon, which would, you know, go wherever you have it, but that's optional. Let me just close this back up because I'm going to keep this one for me. I like that one. So this is what mine looks like done. And that's the back. Okay. All right. So as for fabric, if you're going to do the 6x10 hoop, which is what I'm doing today, you're going to need two pieces of fabric for your front cover and your back cover, which is going to be a 7x12. So you need two for the front and back, which I have those here. You're also going to need whatever fabric you want to use for the spine. I'm going to use this, which is also a 7x12 piece. And then your lining fabric, you're going to need two pieces for that. And that's going to be an 8.5x12. And this is what I'm using for this lining. You'll also need fabric for the inside flaps to put the cover in. And the inside flaps you're going to need are two pieces of 11-inch by 12-inch. That's what I'm going to use for the flaps here. And in the directions, you'll see that'll say to fold these in half long way. And I have already done that, and I pressed them. So those will be my flaps. And you'll also need 3 pieces of batting. All 3 pieces are going to be a 7x12. And 2 pieces are going to be one for the front cover, 1 for the back cover, and 1 for the spine. So that is everything that you're going to need. You're also going to use cutaway stabilizer. I know that the tutorial says a mesh cutaway. I didn't have it. I had a little thicker one and it worked just fine. So you can use that as well. All right, so we're gonna go on and head over to the machine and we'll get started. Okay, so for the first hooping, we're gonna be stitching the back cover, which is 7 steps. It's kind of really easy. The first step we're going to do is the placement stitch for the batting, which is step 1, and then step 2 is the tack down stitch. So we'll go ahead and do a placement stitch on here first, and then we'll put the batting on, and then we'll tack it down. Okay, so now that we got the batting tacked down, we're going to go ahead and just cut all around the edge, around the stitches. But you don't want to cut too close because you don't want to rip them up and be right back. Okay, so we trimmed all the way around the batting, and what we're going to do now is we're going to place our cover fabric over the batting with the right side up, and just make sure that your fabric covers all of the batting. So we'll take this and make sure. Okay, make sure, I'm just feeling to make sure. The tutorial says to make sure to cover all 4 sides like by a 1/2 inch, and I have that. So I'm just gonna pin this down. And then what we're gonna do after we pin this down, we're gonna put it back into the hoop, and we're gonna run step 3, which is the tack down for the fabric. But don't trim the fabric at this time. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put it in the hoop and tack it down. Okay, so we got step 3 done, which was the tack down for the fabric. Next step is step 4, which we're going to now stitch out the quilting stitches and whatever color you want to use. If you want to change your colors, you can do so at this time. All right, so we got the quilting stitches done. Looks really nice. Next step is what we're going to do. We're going to take one of the fabric flaps, and we're going to put it down over the cover with the fold of the flap facing towards the right side, like that. And what you're going to do, actually, I'm going to take these pins out because I don't need them there anymore. I can reuse them. Okay, so what we're going to do is, what I did is I measured from the stitching here to here has to be 1.5 inches. So where's my little measuring tape here? Okay, so what I did is I just put that there and moved this until it got to 1.5. And then I just check all top, bottom, and middle to make sure. So that I know is 1.5, so I'm gonna pin that down. Oh, I think I just moved it. Okay, pin that down. And then I'll measure here. Okay. So we just got to pull this a little bit that way. And that's right on 1.5. Okay, so, oops, so now we'll pin that down. Get my pins. Okay, and then when I pin it down, I check again to make sure I didn't move it when I was pinning it. Oop. So this is 1.5. That's fine. Okay. All right. Okay, so what we'll do, now we'll go ahead and put this back in the machine and run step 5, which is the tack down for the flap. I'll be right back. Okay, so we have our flap tacked down. The next step is going to take one of the pieces of the lining, and we're going to place the lining face down. But what we're going to do is put it 1 inch from the left edge stitch line. So this is the left edge stitch line. Oops. And we'll go ahead and put, we'll do it that way. And then again, I will measure. Sorry if you hear my dog whining. She wants to come in here, so I'm not letting her in while I'm working. Okay, so we're going to do 1 inch. So let me bring this back that way. And that's right on the line. So let me just pull that up some. Oh, do it one more time. I'm not good at eyeballing, so I have to measure. Okay, so that is 1 inch. So we'll go ahead and pin that. And we'll make sure this is 1 inch. Oop. Okay, that's 1 inch. We'll pin that. Okay, just measure one more time. That's all right. That'll work for me. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this in the machine, and this is gonna tack down the lining. I'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have the first liner tacked down, we can go ahead and remove pins if you have any, or any tape, and take it out of the hoop. And we have completed the first hooping. Yay. Pretty simple, huh? All right, so now what you want to do is trim away your cutaway stabilizer. You want to leave it in here. You just want to take it out around the sides, and believe it or not, this is cutaway. I mean, yeah, cutaway, but it tears very easily. It's a light cutaway. So I'm just going to tear that all around. Okay, so now we got all the stabilizer away. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut some of this fabric off. So, all right, so we're going to fold this in half just to get it out of the way. And you see the edge stitching here. You are going to cut right along this stitch. Close, but don't cut the actual stitches. I'll show you. Where is my cutting thing? All right, I'm gonna have to use this one. I'm gonna have to use this big thing because I can't find my small one right now. And I'm just gonna do it from this way so I can see better. No, we'll do it this way. Okay, so I'm gonna put this right on top of the stitches just to make sure that I don't cut them. Because if this is on top of them, then I know I won't cut them. And I just put it a little over the stitches, tiny, tiny bit. And then we're gonna just cut that fabric off. Okay. I think I need a new blade. Well, heck, okay. All right. Okay, so as you can see, we're very, very close to the stitching. I'll put this light here. Very, very close to the stitching, but we did not cut the stitching. Okay. Okay, so that's it for the back cover for now. So you're going to just put this to the side and we're going to get started on the second hooping, which is the front cover. Okay, so now that we made it through the first hooping, we're going to start the second hooping. The second hooping is we're going to be stitching the front cover. And it's 11 steps and it's pretty much basically the same as the first, but some of the steps are reversed. So step 1 and 2 is going to be the same. We're going to do the placement stitch for the batting and then the tacking down stitch for the batting, and we'll be back. Okay, so we got step 2 done. We tacked down the batting. I don't know what happened there, but it's a little bunched up there. I'm not worried about it. So what we'll do is same as before. We're going to trim around the batting. We'll be right back. All right, so we got the batting trimmed. I kind of fixed that a little bit as best as I can. So what we're going to do is take your second piece of cover fabric, right side up. We're going to cover the batting at least 1/2 inch all the way around. And I just make sure it's all covered, which it is, and I got enough room on both sides. Okay, we'll go ahead and pin that down. Sorry if you guys hear my dogs. One of my dogs are sick. He has cancer and I need to leave this door open a little bit, so in case I hear something I don't want to hear. So if you hear my dogs, I apologize. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this back in the machine and we'll run step 3 to tack down the fabric. Okay, so we got the the fabric tacked down all the way around. And for step 4, we're going to go ahead and run the quilting stitches. Okay, so we got the quilting part done of the second hooping. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take your elastic, whatever you choose to use, and this is optional. So if you don't want to use this, you can skip this step. For those who do want to use it, we're going to go ahead, Step 5, the machine is going to do a placement stitch around here. But we'll go ahead and get that placement stitch done and be right back. Okay, so we got the placement stitch for the elastic, and I know you're not really going to be able to see it, but it starts right here and it goes to about right there. So, and now what we'll do is we're going to take our elastic, we're going to put it right side down. Ow, excuse me. Okay, so we're going to do a right side down, and we're going to do about a 1/2 inch over that line. And then we're going to just tape that down. Make sure I'm in the stitching. Okay, I'll go ahead and tape that down. Just want to make sure that's straight before it stitches. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that, and now we'll go ahead and tack this down. We'll be right back. Okay, so we have the tack down stitch here for the elastic, and what we're going to do next is I'm just going to leave this like that, and we're going to do another placement stitch down here, and then we'll tack it down. And what you're going to want to do is after you do your placement stitch, you want to just taunt this a little bit so it's not flapping anywhere, and then tape it down, and then do the after you tape it down, put it back in the machine, and then step 8 will be the tack down, and we'll be right back. Okay, we have the elastic tack down. That looks kind of okay for me. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take the second flap that you have, and we're going to put it down over this with the folded side facing towards the left, like that. Okay, and we're going to bear with me one moment. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So like I said, we're going to go put this down here, and we need to have it same as before on the other side, about 1.5 inches from the left edging. So let me get my measuring tape here. Okay, I'm going to measure 1.5. So that's a little off. So we're going to pull it this way. Okay, 1.5, perfect. Check the bottom, 1.5. Okay, so I'm going to pin this down. Check this side. Need to be at 1.5, which is perfect. Okay, so I'll put another pin in here. Okay, and then I always just measure again, because that's just me. It's my OCD. Okay. And okay, so we're good there. Okay, so we'll put this back in the machine, and this is gonna stitch out step 9, and we're gonna go ahead and tack this down. Okay, so we got this flap tacked down. Next, we're going to take your second piece of fabric liner, and what we are going to do is place it right side down. And this time, we're going to go 1 inch to the left from the right side of the hoop on the stitching. So we'll go ahead and lay this here, and we're going to do about 1 inch. So let me measure that. And that is perfect. Okay, so let me pin that into place. Okay, let me check that again. Okay, it's perfect. Let's check this side. Just move it just a hair. I moved it a little too much. Okay, and that's perfect. So we'll go ahead and pin this down. Ow, just stuck myself in the finger. Okay, let me just measure that again. Perfect. And that is perfect. Okay. All right, so now we'll put this back in the machine, and we're going to stitch out step 10. Step 10 is going to be the tack down on the top. It will go across the top here, and then step 11 is going to be the bottom, and we'll be back. Okay, so we got the liner tacked down. And now what we're going to do, we're going to take this out of the hoop. And we're going to remove the stabilizer. And like I said, mine, it's a cutaway, but it tears very easily, so I'm just going to do that. It's a lightweight cutaway, and it's the only one I had, but it'll work okay for this. Okay, so all right, so we're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're going to flip this over here. Oops, I think I put this over just a little too far. Okay, so this one was over just a little bit. That's okay. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to snip this thread a little bit, and then I'm going to hand sew it later to just so I can get what I have to do here. And it's only like 1 or 2 stitches. I measured and it said it was 1 inch, but maybe I moved it and didn't pay attention, but that's okay. Because I need to fold this and get it out of the way. And the same thing on this end. Well, that's weird because I measured and it said 1 inch. That's okay. I will fix this later. just like 2 stitches. Okay, so what we're gonna do is the same thing we did before. We're gonna fold this and get it out of the way. And let me go get my cutter. And then we're going to cut along this stitching here, but make sure you don't cut the actual stitching. Okay, so I'm going to put this right over the stitches, just a little hair over it. Oop, my glasses got in the way. Do it again. Just do a little hair over it and then cut. And I think I need a new blade. I said this before, I know. I think I got to put a new blade on here. Okay, so made sure, I don't know if you can see, but we did not cut the stitching. Okay. Okay, so we are done with the second hooping. We're going to put this to the side, and you're going to load your spine file onto the computer. And like I said, I will fix this later, unless I don't remember if the machine will go back over, but it's fine for me. Oh, that's my batting. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this on the side for now. I'll be right back. Okay, we got the third and final hooping design in the machine. It's 14 steps. The first step is going to do a placement stitch so you can place your back cover onto the stabilizer. Okay, so we stitched the placement line for the back cover, and what you're going to do, you remember where we cut it along these stitches? You are going to attach it, just place it right over the stitching, which on my hoop it's a little hard, but I get it done. And you want to make sure you try to get it on the stitching as close as you can, because that's how it's going to be tacked down. It's just going to go over those stitches again. So I am going to use a different tape. Ow. Take some masking tape, and I'm just going to line up mine with these, and I think right there should work. Let me get this one down. Masking tape works better for some things than the painter's tape. Okay, and then I'm just going to do this again, do it like right there. Okay. I'm just going to put another small piece of tape here in the middle, and if it stitches, I mean, it's going to stitch over it, and that's fine, because I could take it right off, but I want to make sure that this is where it needs to be, so I'm just going to do that. Oh, okay, so we got that. So what we're going to do is put it back in the machine, and we're going to tack this down. And I'll be right back. Okay, so we tacked down the back cover. That's that. And now we're going to do another placement stitch on this side for the front cover. Okay, we did the other placement stitch for the front cover, and we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to line these stitches up with the placement stitch as best as you can, and then just tape it down. Okay, and I think we're good right there. Do that. We'll do this one. I don't think I need one in there now. Okay, and we're going to put it back in the machine now and run step 4, which will tack that down. Okay, we got the front cover tacked down. Now we're going to do step 5, which is going to run a placement stitch here for your last piece of batting. We have our placement stitch for our last piece of batting, and we'll go ahead and put the last piece of batting in here and just make sure it's covering, make sure it's covering the entire placement stitch. Move it down there, and then we'll go ahead and tack that down. Okay, so we have the this tacked down. We're going to go ahead and cut all around just like we did before. Oops, so we got the batting cut. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take your spine fabric, whatever you chose for your spine, and we're going to put it over the batting right side up. Make sure it's covering all of the batting and at least a ½ inch or so on each side. Okay, and we'll bring it to the machine, and step 7 we'll tack it down. Okay, so we have the spine fabric tacked down, and what we're going to do next is you're going to trim the fabric on the left and right side only. Just leave the top and bottom. So just cut as close to the stitches as you can on both sides. Okay, so we went ahead and just cut around these two sides here, and we'll go ahead and put it back in the machine. And at this time, change your thread to whatever color you want the spine stitches to be. So we completed step 8, which did all of this on the spine. Now step 9 is going to run a satin stitch on the left and the right. Okay, so step 9 did the satin stitches on both sides of the spine. Step 10 is going to do a line down the middle, just straight stitch, and I use a different color to do that because I think it looks nice. So we'll go ahead and stitch step 10, which is going to sew a stitch line down the center of each side. Okay, we got step 10 done, and if you can see, it did a line down the middle of the satin stitch on both sides. And step 11 is going to put a placement stitch right here for your ribbon if you choose to use it, since it's optional. And for demonstration purposes, I'm going to do it in this video. Okay, we did a placement stitch right here for your ribbon. In case you can't see it, I did it in a different color so I can make it out. It's right there. Let's get my scissors over here. Sorry, bear with me one moment. Sorry about that. Okay, so we got the placement stitch. So I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm gonna put the design side down, do about a 1/2 inch up, and then just tape that into place. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put this back in the machine and tack it down. Okay, so we got that tacked down. I'm going to remove my paper here, my tape, and we'll go ahead and just take the ribbon and just put it in the flap here just to move it out of the way. And what we're going to do now, we're going to take the right side here of the liner and put it down like that. And then you're going to turn it back about just an inch or so. Just do that just so we don't leave a raw edge. And you just want to smooth that down with your finger. And that looks okay to me. And then we're going to take the left side and fold it over. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I forgot to say where we folded this. Oops. Where we folded this, let's go ahead and tape it down so it stays. And like I said, just about an inch or so. Or a little more. I think that should be okay. Okay. And then we're going to put this over it. Just make sure everything is straight. Okay. So you don't need to fold this edge, but what you want to do is just tape it in place. Sorry, just looking at my notes over here and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Sometimes I make boo-boos. Okay. All right, I'm going to put this back in the machine. I'm going to change my thread color at this time because I want it to match the blue. And we'll be right back. Okay, so we did the final step. We tacked down the liner. I'm going to take my tape off. My machine had a little hiccup that I had to fix. So it got a little messed up down here. Okay, so we're going to remove this from the hoop now. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove the stabilizer. And the good thing is I didn't have to fix the lining because it got tacked down. So the little boo-boo that I made earlier got fixed on its own when it tacked down the liner. So that was a good thing. Make sure it's in all the way. And then take this one. Don't want you to see what I wrote on there. And put it in there like that. And there you go. You can iron it first, you know, so it sits a little better. But there's your spine. Looks really good. I like this. And then the ribbon. And then you can, like, if you want to do that, like a bookmark or something like that. And then this, I do this way to close it, to keep it closed. If you wanted to keep it closed, I just put something upside down. But there you go. That is your quilted cover. Well, thank you for watching my video for the large composition cover, quilted book cover by Designs by Juju. If you have any questions, please leave a comment at the under the video. And if you have any questions, any comments, you can also get me on Facebook, on Kim's Vinyl Expressions. I'm also in the Designs by Juju group. You can see me on there too and send me a message. If you have any ideas or any questions about this at all, please shoot me a message and I'll do my best to answer it. And that's it for today. So again, we have our composition notebook cover. Okay, so have a good day.